The current conditions allow, I should say require, that all homes placed in the mobile home park be new ones. Now that's made a lot of sense when the park was brand new and these conditions were established to have it all brand new as it was developing. Now that the project is about 28 years old, the oldest phase of it, the applicant feels that they should be allowed to move in used homes that would be compatible with some of the older homes that are in place already. Anyway, that is their request. They did note several reasons in their narrative, which is included in your packet, but I can summarize them. As noted on the bottom of page 1, they state that requiring only new homes is not consistent with the current use of the property. Permitting used homes is more consistent with the property's present use. Secondly, the city's building code officials retain the ability to inspect any homes to be moved into the Rolling Hills. Third, Rolling Hills has a track record showing that it takes great care to ensure the aesthetic quality of the community. 4, they note federal law provides that state or local requirements or standards must not affect the uniformity and comprehensiveness of the standards promulgated under this section. That's the section of those statutes. 5th, state law and court determinations provide that zoning controls enacted by any legislative body must apply equally to manufactured and site-built homes. 6, it is safe to assume that the city's goal in restricting homes in Rolling Hills to new was to ensure that the community did not become an eyesore for the city. Maplewood is, they state, is not a home of many manufactured home communities, and there was likely some trepidation on the city's part in dealing with this type of land use. The applicant states that now I am confident that the city has a very different perspective on mobile home communities. And lastly, the applicant states that Rolling Hills is an expertly maintained community that while overwhelmingly filled with used homes, remains aesthetically pleasing to the eye. In reviewing this, staff considered design and aesthetics and the building code. As I started to mention, new homes did make perfect sense when the project was brand new and developing. We would now want to see used homes moved into a brand new developing park. But now, nearly after 30 years since the startup, though it's a very nice park, it is largely built out with older homes now that were put in initially, and of course there's been turnover over the year. But it no longer seems strictly appropriate that all homes must be brand new. The building code does require compliance with, in full, with any structure moved in, no matter what its age, whether it's new or however old. So, in talking to our city attorney, he felt that that might be our best handle for regulating homes, not choosing a year or an age of a home that they can't move structures in older than that. He thought that it would be best to simply require that all homes meet the building code, which state law requires anyhow. Staff did talk to Mr. Paul Ruby, who is the president of the Residents Association there, and he suggested that homes being allowed in the park be no older than 12 years old. And the reason is the plumbing. He stated that homes older than 12 years old, I think he said built in 98, were installed with polybutylene plumbing, which he says there are problems with. The newer version, which is PEX, which is what's used nowadays, I guess, is a better product, and therefore he'd hate to see homes with the older version, polybutylene, installed in the park. So therefore they were requesting homes be no older than 12 years old if they're moved in. That's sort of it in a nutshell, Commissioners. Staff is supportive of this. We are recommending that the we rely on the building code. I can't say this for a fact, but my hunch is that it probably isn't likely that a home too old, I'm gonna guess at an age of 15 years, I don't know, it's a guess, I don't have any authority here. But I think if they picked a house that was too old, there just might be too many upgrades to make to bring it into compliance with today's building code standards. And that might be sort of self-regulating. In their recommendation, because this was approved in 2 phases, and a lot of the conditions were relative to startup of the project, I just deleted everything from the first 2 initial motions and consolidated them into one Rolling Hills motion, which begins on page 6, and tried to catch everything that was still pertinent. And with that, commissioners, I'm happy to answer questions.